Sorry. You're mad at me.
I love you, Lizzie. And everything works out the way it's supposed to.
I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry.
You just look at the flowers, Lizzie. Just look at the flowers. Just look at the flowers.
Don't give them any money. Companies that went woke are now going broke. Today we have a video from Wagner Knows Why, and he kind of breaks down Western gaming's shocking rejection of gamers and now why gamers are rejecting them. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of gamers rejecting woke gaming companies and how this affects everyone going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Another day, another Concord-like failure for the player base to choose from. This is coming from a new game that just had its release trailer and first impressions called Project Ethos, and it gives us a similar feeling to another massive failure that was just recently released. And of course, I'm talking about Concord, the epically big failure for Sony and Firewalk Studios, who purchased Firewalk Studios, leading to the tragic launch of Concord, which released to a peak number of players of around 680. And this led to a massive epic sprawl of content attacking the game for its lack of actual coherent design scheme and actually making characters that players actually want to play as. And I think that was the main failure that we saw in Concord, and I think that's the main failure that we're seeing here with Project Ethos, where we're just getting that same splatter of diverse characters that don't look attractive, appealing, or even playable for that matter. And I think that is a situation we see developing all throughout the gaming industry. Just look at this new trailer for a game called Directive 8020 that has the same tropes that we've been seeing all over the gaming industry. It seems like wherever you go, there's a black female lead character leading the charge. And I think this is the monotony that we're seeing in the gaming industry that is pretty much annoying the gamer base, where we know what we're going to get from your game even before it comes out. And I think that's the sad thing, even with this trailer itself, where we're just seeing doubles of the same character that we see everywhere in the gaming industry today. And it's kind of getting annoying for the player base when we're getting the generic black bald lesbian looking character as the lead character in a multitude of games, or just even as an adjacent character in a multitude of games. And this is leading to the backlash that we're seeing in the gaming industry today, where we just get these same stock characters in every single first person shooter game that is coming out nowadays. And it's not even restricted to first person shooters, it's open to every single game, where you get the standard character with the Killmonger cut that is diverse. And I think that's the thing that we see with Project Ethos from the outset, from its title screen, where we just see this character everywhere in gaming, and now we're seeing it here again. And it's going to push away the player base because we already see the lack of creativity being put into this game. If you look at other games that were released this year and beyond that, you see that same player archetype with that half-shaven hair, whether it's a man or a woman, that have the same hairstyle that we see all throughout the gaming industry. I think that is becoming a nuisance for the gamers themselves. As we're playing these games, we see the same character archetype prototype everywhere, and it's boring. If you are playing a numerous amount of games, which a lot of gamers are playing a large amount of games, and we're seeing the same character prototype model, same story design, same color palette, same everything, that is just not going to attract the game player to actually purchase your game. And that seems to lead a lot of people to look at Project Ethos as a Concord clone, another game which is probably going to be released to high praise from the gaming journalists, because they did the same thing to Concord. They praised it, they gave it the 7s, they said it was good, it was likable, it was playable, you need to give it a chance because it's a Sony product that you need to support, because Sony supports the game journalists. But I think a similar thing is going to happen here with Project Ethos, because it's coming from a studio that's highly supported as well. And I see this happening with every single project that is like this, where we're getting this half-hearted gameplay that is surrounded by these progressive political politics of the modern day gaming industry, where they're just trying to shape the gaming industry to reflect back their personal philosophies and morals, where it's not about the fun gameplay, it's not about the interactivity with the fan base, it's about making something that they agree with. And of course the corporate side is about making something that is similar to everything else. And that's why you have these Fortnite like third-person shooters that are coming out consecutively, and I think this is the game that we're seeing right here. Of course, Concord was first person, but you have that same feeling with Concord in this game, where it's just, okay, you're making this game for all the wrong reasons.
Now, to be very, very clear, these companies basically sold their souls to the devil, and we're going to jump into that in a moment. But even if they want to reverse course, they're not going to be able to. A lot of dirty money was changing hands. A lot of these companies are basically borderline washing money, but there's actually some very, very downright disgusting things that have happened here as well, because they took a lot of dirty money as well, and not just from, not from just from groups that want them to wash it, but also from groups that wanted them to put certain messages in their games. I actually have a comment from one of my subscribers that kind of delves a bit further and deeper into what's happening here. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this comment. So this comment came from KRZ in response to some of the things I've been saying regarding companies going woke and going broke. And he said, it's DEI funds like BlackRock. They offer these companies cash for pumping woke agenda into gaming. And yes, they are linked to many banks as well. So in this regard, you are wrong. Almost all developers dipped their toes into DEI agenda for their funds, or for these funds, because they thought they could get away with it and the people won't notice. As for the banks and those funds, they were more interested in brainwashing the next generation of kids. This is not about funds. This is about social engineering. So BlackRock is one of the largest funding sources in the world. And basically whatever BlackRock says, that is telling us kind of what we can expect going forward in the future, because this is how they operate. This is what they do. It is the world's largest asset manager with $11.5 trillion in assets under management as of December 31st, 2023. So they're the world's largest assets manager and one of the world's leading providers of investments, advisory, and risk management solutions. Yeah. And they also do investing on their behalf, and they help millions of hardworking people to gain financial well-being. So that's who BlackRock is. Now, who really owns BlackRock? A guy named Larry Fink. He is the founder, CEO, and chairman of the powerhouse investment management firm BlackRock. And I mean, guys, it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And they are 100% pushing a woke agenda. And they have so much money, over $11 trillion in assets under them. And they are linked to the banks. So they can basically dictate the type of media that is coming out. They are the funding source for a lot of this. But keep in mind, it's not as simple as 1, 2, 3. It's not simple as A, B, C, do, re, mi. These companies, they chose to go down this path. They chose to take that dirty money. They then hoped that no one would notice. That they were basically pushing this agenda in the games. That's why there are many companies, indie developers, that are not experiencing this right now. Many companies overseas, South Korea, China, that are not experiencing this right now. Every one of these companies, so many of them, probably from Square Enix all the way to EA, they took this garbage. I mean, when you think about how did Microsoft even finance the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, that was like $75 billion. Where did they get that kind of money just to throw away on a video game company? BlackRock. BlackRock was like, hey, bro, we'll finance this for you. Sure, Microsoft is worth like $3 billion, but that doesn't mean that they have $100 billion or almost $100 billion just to throw away just like that. The truth is, the facts of the matter are quite simple, and they basically are being financed. They basically are being given money to push these narratives in games, and they took the money. But these companies don't have to do this. That's what they've grown so large that now they're falling apart. And let me tell you something else, because this money isn't free. BlackRock isn't giving these companies this money for free. You guys are insane if you think this is free money. The money that they took to develop these games and to make these woke agendas in these games, these were loans. These were not gifts. These were loans. That money has to be paid back, and BlackRock is going to come for them. So when they fail, the banks that finance this, because they're an investment management company, BlackRock is just going to cut their losses on them, and the banks are going to seize all of their assets, and their lives are going to be destroyed. So this is a wonderful thing for every single one of us. These companies are basically going to end up dying off. Don't give them any money.
Where you don't even have game designers that are interested in making these games, and they're just more focused on that politically driven outcome that they want to see in the gameplay. And I think that is the look that we're seeing all throughout the market nowadays, where we even had a game trailer that looked exactly like the main character from Project Ethos a day later in Subnautica, where this is just becoming a nuisance to the game player base, where we're seeing incessantly the same character designs, the same goals within the gameplay that are being produced by these studios, where it's become a copy-paste industry nowadays, where of course we've seen a lot of Souls-like games come out from other studios, but we still got a different entire look and appeal of those games, like the Black Myth Wukong and a bunch of other Chinese games that have been coming out, where they do have that similar Souls-like feel, but they made their own game in the process. You don't feel that with a lot of these games that are coming out with this prototypical black female character as the lead, where we're just seeing that same look, that same attitude, that same overall Fortnite design, and it's just not appealing to the game player base. And it's funny to see the game devs sticking to their claims, sticking to their guns, where they're not changing anything for anyone. Of course, these game development cycles take a long time to actually complete a game, so it's going to be a hard time to actually change what you're producing, at least. But you would think they recognize the massive failure of Concord and maybe adapted a little bit, but that is not the case. We see a lot of these companies doubling down, and I think that's what we're seeing with Project Ethos, where they're doubling down. They're taking the bait from a lot of these game journalists, saying, oh, it's such a saturated market, you have to be unique, you have to do that to actually attract attention. And I don't think that's the case. They're coming up with poor excuses for Concord to protect their progressive philosophy, which is in Concord. And I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of game journalists, where they're trying to protect their philosophy over guiding or actually criticizing these game studios, because it's not about the games anymore. It's about their political leanings. And I think it's reflective of what we're seeing with a lot of studios continuing on with this process of focusing on building projects on these DEI goals, diversity, equity, inclusion, of course, their progressive values. And that's why I think Project Ethos is maybe the overall culmination of that, where we're seeing that game actually produced again after just recently seeing Concord be just decimated in the market.
I think that this comment from Misto really stands out. He says, see, here's the thing, Angry. Even if Ubisoft does correct their course, they should still be boycotted into oblivion. With the rest of these companies, never forgive or forget all the spite, hate, and vitriol they have spewed towards their fans. Anyone who returns to them is a simp for these companies. Leave them in the wind. Never buy their products. Do not ever forget their energy toward the fan base. I am personally done with these companies. I would rather play tabletops like Level 7, Escape, or Mage. Screw them. And this is how you go about it, guys. You say, screw you. You went woke. Now you're going broke. And even if you want to change course, even if they do change course and try to correct things, never go back to them. Let them die off. Do not help these companies. Do never forget how much they HATE'd you. Never forget what they did to you. Never forget that they said the world would be a better place without you. Let them burn to the ground and let them go away. And what's very important to understand is that many of these games have been in development for years because as a result of the greed and all the money, dirty money that they took, you know, they've been spending years developing these woke narratives. They've been spending years with this garbage. And now it's, the roosters are coming home to crow. So they can't just put out a brand new game suddenly, like a year later. Oh, people don't like woke in their games anymore. We learned our lessons. We're going to turn it around. No, they start working on these games for years. So even if the market is now crashing and burning, one, they took that money from BlackRock, so they agreed to make games that followed those kinds of policies, that followed that kind of stuff. Ubisoft, it's not that easy for Ubisoft to just change and reverse course. They took that BlackRock money. And now the value of their company has gone from something like 13 billion down to less than 1.5 billion. And BlackRock is not bailing them out. BlackRock is not coming back with a bunch of additional money saying, okay, we'll get you more loans and keep you going. No, they took that money thinking that people would not notice that, they were inserting woke agendas into their games, and they were making these games that people despise with ugly character models and overarching political left-leaning narratives. And now people are like, yeah, we're rejecting this. We're not going to invest in this. We're not going to give you our money. We're not going to do the whole own nothing and be happy thing. And they're like desperate, like they're having a fire sale over Ubisoft. They've been canceling projects left and right. They've canceled early access to Assassin's Creed Shadow. Star Wars Outlaw has failed, and the company is like has burnt through money. They have literally nothing right now. Okay, investors are coming after them. Their house is on fire, and trust me, there are consequences. There are serious consequences. I guarantee you that the founders of the company, the top executives in the company, are trying to set themselves up for golden parachutes right now. And it's not going to be easy. And of course, greed will always be a major factor for most companies, but the ones who choose not to go down that path are going to be the ones that come out on top. The indie developers that choose to remain independent, not take that money from BlackRock, not get involved in this political garbage, they are going to be the ones who lead the future going forward. Companies in Southeast Asia, specifically in countries like South Korea and as well as even China, they're putting out amazing games. Okay, like Wushang right now, that game looks absolutely insane. It's like it's a success. It's very much in the lines of Black Myth Wukong. There's just so many amazing games coming from these developers overseas right now that don't have any of these political narratives placed in them, and they're able to make games without this garbage. Pal World, they made this game on a shoestring budget. Like this guy, the guy who created the game, he did not know how to code. He basically learned how to code in a shoebox. The girl who's like the lead creative designer in it, she was like working at 7-Eleven, like drawing, like doing like fan art in her spare time. And they basically on a couple $1,000s they put this together, and now their company is worth something like pushing towards like half a billion or $1 billion. They are flush with cash, and they're making more cash each and every single day. Pal World, it just launched on the PlayStation 5, I believe, recently, and that's going to bring in even a larger influx of cash for them. They're basically standing up to Nintendo because they don't care. They have that kind of money. Nintendo's trying to shut them down, saying that their gameplay is too much in line with Pokemon, using bogus patents that they literally registered after Pal World came out. So I mean, but they're standing up to them. So, and you have companies that are coming forward now. Like for example, I think it's Dragon. Is it Dragon 8? No, Baldur's Gate. They're coming out and they're condemning companies like Dragon Age, BioWare that put out games like Dragon Age now that have gone woke, and all these other companies that are putting out woke trash and saying to consumers that you will own nothing and you need to let go of the idea of owning property, which is what BlackRock wants. They don't want people to own anything anymore. That's why they're going with the whole WEF thing, where, you know, you will everything will be community owned. In other words, everything will be owned by investment firms, and they will decide what you have access to and what you don't have access to, and you will basically work and pay to have access to different things, but you will never physically actually own anything. You won't physically own video games. You won't physically own anything. And this is for the good of the people and the good of the world. It absolutely is about indoctrinating the next generation, and they do it they call it kindness. I want you to notice the generation that is responsible for this and pushes this garbage nonsense and this views, the baby boomers. What do they talk about? Kindness, kindness, kindness. And if you don't obey, God is going to punish you and send you to that place of fire and damnation. That is what the baby boomers have done as they pillage society and steal everything from all of us. They love BlackRock. They love BlackRock because they don't care about anyone else but themselves. They are given many incentives to betray humanity because they're getting their handouts, they're getting their Social Security, but Social Security is not enough for them. They want it, they want more, they want it all. They are the most corrupt generation, and Gen Z are the most corrupted generation. Guys, if you are enjoying the content, I want you to go and check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. YouTube has been reducing or even eliminating ad revenue on many of my videos. If you want to help keep the content free and support my work, please consider becoming a paid subscriber in the Angry Guy Clubhouse. Inside, you'll get top tier expat and passport bro travel tips. You'll also get digital nomad guides, passive income strategies, pop culture and geek culture commentary, and hard-hitting manosphere content. Paid subscribers have access to videos, podcasts, articles, and community chat. Plus, receive the passive income blueprint and the digital nomad blueprint just for subscribing. You get a lot right there. Paid subscribers unlock even more value, including exclusive guides like how to build an online business in 24 hours, ebook, wealth building blueprints, and crypto updates. Join us today and by clicking the link in the description and take your journey to the next level.
And I think that's the situation overall in the gaming industry nowadays, where it's hard for them to turn away from their ideals because everything around them is reinforcing it for them. I think the game journalists are reinforcing it for them, and of course their personal ideologies. That's why when they hear criticisms about their games, they can just say it's all the racist people that they don't want to play their games, until no one is actually playing their games, and then they listen to the excuses of the game journalists saying, oh, you just messed up, it's just a saturated market, or maybe the evil racists destroyed your game and we have to fight even harder to make an even worse game to fight these racists. And that seems to be the case with games like The Last of Us and a whole host of other games coming out nowadays, where it's being made with the rejection of the fans in mind. And I think that's the case of a lot of the games that are coming out nowadays. Spider-Man 2 as well, where it was made with the rejection of the fan base in mind. Joker 2 as well, where it was made with the rejection of the fan base in mind. And I think that is a key point within the games industry nowadays, where a lot of the games are now being made with the hyper focus of rejecting any of the fans that they don't like to be within their industry. And I think that is a process that we're seeing play out nowadays, where we're still getting games like Project Ethos because they're made with the rejection of the fans in mind. And I think that's the current day product of the gaming industry, where it's about neglecting the fans because the fans are the enemy of the game developers. And I think that's why we're seeing a hyper focus on this type of industry even after Concord failed, because the failure is not enough for them to actually stop what they're doing. They need to continue on because it is a mission to change the overall gaming industry as a whole. And I think that is what we're seeing here with a lot of titles coming out nowadays like Project Ethos, where it's still about changing the gaming industry and it's not about the games anymore. And I think that's a sad state of affairs, at least from what I'm seeing from these cookie cutter designs and these overall boring, diverse looking characters that we always see now in the gaming industry. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think this is just the gaming industry doing what it always does.
So trust me, they know that gamers don't want this trash. They know that gamers wanted more Ghost of Tsushima. They did not want Ghost of Yotai or Yote, however the hell you pronounce it. I don't care. All right, but they basically took that BlackRock money and they have bills to pay. So they have to pay up because Daddy wants his sugar right now. So they are not going to backtrack. They already sold their souls to the devil. And if you wonder who is funding companies like Hit, funding companies like Sweet Baby Inc., it's also BlackRock. But like I said, it only succeeds if the consumer accepts it. Because if they say you will own nothing and be happy, or we're heading towards putting out more diverse movies and content and things along these lines, and people begin rejecting them and standing up and saying, we're not going to give you our money, you are watching a crash. These companies are beginning to crash left and right as all of this crap is being rejected. What they are basically hoping for are people saying that, the simps saying that, oh, we'll just keep on accepting it. We'll just keep on playing these games that no one wants. We'll just keep on pandering. We don't care. Oh, they put Sonic, they put woke in Sonic the Hedgehog. But okay, we don't care. Guys, it starts to add up, okay? When you look at so many companies, they're not even revealing to you the losses that these companies are incurring because of bad press and and because some gamers are now opting out. GOG is making a ton of money. I told you, I spent like $700. I spent like $700 on GOG games just over the last week after understanding that I don't own crap on Steam. I mean, I used to think, oh, well, I mean, I don't physically own the game, but, I actually have it. I can keep on playing it for as long as I want to. They can't just take it away from me. And then you find out, no, they can take it away from you. It's basically the equivalent of a long-term rental. You don't actually own your games on Steam. They're basically just long-term rentals. The publisher of these games can pull the game from Steam at any time that they choose to. And when they pull the game from Steam, Steam will remove it from your library, and you're screwed. And they don't give you your money back. And they can also basically shut your account down if you decide if you fall outside of their guidelines. Want to file a lawsuit against Steam? Previously, it had to be done through arbitration, but so many people were filing lawsuits against them that now they changed their policies. And what it is that you have to file a class. You have to actually go and file a lawsuit. So you're like, oh, that works better for the consumer. Nope. Because if you file a lawsuit against you actually have to file a lawsuit against Steam. So if you file a lawsuit against Steam, now they've updated their policies that you have to delete your entire library, your entire Steam library, if you file a lawsuit against them. And what they're banking on is that people who've spent already $3,000 or $10,000 on their Steam libraries are not going to want to delete their entire Steam libraries and lose not only their games, but also their save files. So everything that they've accomplished and done. This is how evil these companies are. Steam is not your friend. They create a wonderful environment, and they lull you into a false sense of security, making you believe that you have ownership of things when you don't. And they create convenience and all of these other things so that you surrender your power. You surrender your ownership, and you don't even realize it. These are bloodthirsty companies. I like Gabe Newell. I think Gabe Newell is a great person, but he is a shrewd businessman. These lawyers, these companies that have these policies, they are not pro-consumer. They are evil and vindictive, and they just want to suck every last dime and dollar out of you. This is not true capitalism that we are seeing, okay? This is I wouldn't even call it hyper capitalism. This is something completely different, where we're moving towards a world, a reality where the corporations own everything and we own nothing. And George Carlin said this. He predicted it. He said they want it all and they're going to get it all. Okay? And you're not a part of that special people club. We've been warned. For example, Sims have made their choice. Let me make this very, very clear to you. Sims are not simply useful idiots. The simp is an evil, vindictive piece of crap. The simp is a low-value little worm. And I've said this before, we need to stop arguing and directing anger towards women and instead refocus that anger on Sims, because they are the actual problem. They are the source of all of our pain and suffering. If you purged the Sims from our lives, from our communities, that's when you will see actual change. Women are essentially powerless in this world, and without men or the state to support them, they have nothing. Because the average woman was not designed to live without a man. Simps, on the other hand, and if you try to be disrespectful, if you try to say things that will ultimately, bring about anger and disdain, you're going to experience blowback. No matter how disrespectful modern women are to men, no one actually cares because no one cares about men. It's not going to end well for you. However, if you go after the simps and you say that you're not going to tolerate it, how do you deal with the simps? It's quite simple. How do you purge simps from society? You do it by simply pushing them out of the pack. You pull them into the light. You stop blaming women and start talking about simps and talking about what the simps have done and the role and involvement of simps. That's why they're coming after me. The simps are coming after me hard because this is their way of survival. They know what they're doing. They've heard many times, what happens. They watch my videos constantly because they're entertaining. They watch more of my videos than my super fans do. The simp watches my video from start to finish. They will, if I put out a 2-hour video, they will start complaining about something that I said, 1 hour and 42 minutes in. And then say that, you're saying the same thing in every single video. I'm saying the same thing in every single video, and you're picking out things in my videos that happen far into the video. So that means that you're providing extraordinary engagement to my videos. And then you're complaining. In other words, you're one of my biggest fans. The Sims, they know better. They just don't care. This is how they survive. They are agents of the state. So how do you deal with it? You deal with the Sims by pushing them out of the pack and bringing them into the light by calling them out, putting them on blast. And when you put the simp on blast, the simps are cowards. So now they are full of fear. Now they're going to be running for the exit. If they can't, if they cannot hide behind a keyboard, they will be on their hands and knees, head to the ground. All right? Or basically talking a lot of crap. Guys, you don't mess around with men. Right now, our hands are basically tied behind our backs. But in a scenario where society is crumbling around us, and Sims have to, basically confront or will be confronted by the people, by the men whose life they've destroyed, and they want to spread their garbage directly to our faces. It's a whole different story, my friends. They are cowards. They will be on their hands and knees. They'll be talking a load of crap, and they know men won't tolerate that. And no one cares about a simp. I mean, guys, worst case scenario, we end up just doing a little bit of GAIL time. That's about it. I mean, if you mess with a WOMAN, then that's when you may end up in some situations. But if you're dealing with a simp, you could deal with a simp directly. The state is not going to back you up because it's simps who empower this type of behavior and give women special privileges and men special punishments, allow the state to do this. But when it comes to a simp, no one's going to come and fight for a simp. A police officer is not going to fight for a simp. No one's going to fight for a simp like that because no one cares about men like that. Simps are basically traitors, or essentially, they make it very clear, they were never even your ally to begin with. It doesn't matter if they were born in the same country as you. It doesn't matter if they came from your community. It doesn't matter if they are the same ethnicity or race as you. They were never for you. Okay? I've seen them say it in my comments. They're like, we never said we were loyal. Who told you that we were loyal to you? Who told you we wanted to have anything to do with you? Who said any of that? And they are absolutely right. This is why you have to be very careful. Something I saw in one of my comments from a subscriber is, not all skin folk are kinfolk. Align yourself with like minds and like ideologies. Do not align yourself with like skin tones, because that's when you will get into trouble. Find people who believe the same things as you do. Do not look for people who simply look like you, because that's how you end up in a situation where you are destroyed, okay? Where you will be instantly and quickly and easily betrayed. The key is to don't give these companies any more money, all right? After what they have done, after their betrayal, let them pass away. Let these companies DIE. Let them die off. What do you guys think? The companies that went woke will now go broke, and I'm not crying for them. They're going to end up shutting down. They're going to end up having all of their employees on the unemployment line, and they can HAT us. They can, troll us on Twitter. But these people are going to end up flat broke. They took BlackRock's money, and now they're screwed. And they're going to face the consequences for what they've done. And we should not help them. We should not celebrate them. We should not give them any money. We should let these companies die off and let indie developers and companies overseas rise from these ashes. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. And cheers.